Yay, hello folks. Welcome to, another weird ass video about Dash.io. As you all know, my name is Daryl. Today I am using my VTuber model because I'm too lazy to set up the camera. Nor, well, it just isn't working, so yeah. Anyway, so today I'm gonna do something really different. Today we will be doing a tier list. But this time though, it will be a tier list about Dash.io. So, I have all the heroes here, and I have set the 175%, 50%, 25%, 0%, and LL. Those are related to Dash.io matches. So, 100% of course is like, it's perfect, and 0% is really, really rough to win. So let's go with it. So the first character that we have, it's Araki, also known as Sleepy. So Sleepy, it's a really weird pick because even though it can do a lot of disruptions against us, it's not really a issue per se until he does like Bones of Agony with Take Up the Mental. Because that thing can hurt a lot, and it is a problem when it hits and you have like key cards on your hands, let's say like this. So I'm gonna say it is a really coin toss on the situation of if you can hit him with maximum velocity, and you're gonna hear me say this a lot, which is if you can hit him with a 1 or 2 maximum velocity, you win. But in his case, it's a 50-50. Like, it really depends on who has the tempo of the match. Like, if you actually manage to put a lot of pressure and make him go like under 20 HP, you can pressure him enough that he will probably not try to attack you that much. And he will focus on blocking and etc. Second character, so I have an issue here. I forgot to put the new Araki, aka Mario. So because of this, I will use Huntsman instead, because this thing is like Subarashi. Like, it's perfect when you fight it, because even though it has the same disruptions as, well, Mario and normal like Sleepy, it's not really a problem because his ability doesn't really interact with us. And Contract, even though it's annoying, it's not that much of a problem per se. So there is that. Sometimes, well, Huntsman even help us, which, well, top deck filtering, so there is that. Anyway, so as for Mario though, Mario, I would say it's a 25. As to why, compared to Sleepy, he has way more disruptions. So it's complicated. The match can be really good for you if you actually manage to take the tempo. Normally you want to start in this match to like try to set up items, because since it is a assassin and so on, you want to do a lot of damage in one go instead of like wasting all your cards through boosting and so on and on. So I would say it's a 25% chance, because too many disruptions, he can run like Erase Phase, CNT, etc. Which, well, breaks your MV turns. Well, moving on. Next one is Aurora. So for Aurora, I would also say it is a 25% chance, but on the higher spectrum of it. For some reason I can't pull this thing. Oh, there it is. Okay. So, as to why, it is just like a Syndra, but can run a lot of troublesome defense reactions, like Sigil of Suffering. That card can be really annoying if you don't have the resources to pay it, because if it hits, the one magic attack, aka arcane damage, that it does, if for some reason she has a channel lightning on her hand or field, it just gonna give her a card back. So it can be really annoying. So she can run like Sink Below, etc. and still has a lot of damage potential. And the worst thing that she can do to you, it's actually just defending with Face Purgatory. So it can really disrupt your hand in really troublesome ways. Also, she's one of the aggro decks that can run Warmongers and have no problems with it. So it can be a really like annoying match to play. Not really troublesome if you manage to, well, force a lot of damage early on, or if you actually manage to hit with like stuff like Heist when you have items on the Vanish, because she can't block really well without the items. And sometimes you're gonna see Aurora's running the Crown of Dominion instead of Face Purgatory, which is fantastic because they're gonna try to aggro on us and we will just like win the race because it's, well, easier for us to do more damage because of bombs. So there is that. Next one is, well, new is FF. Like this match is just disgusting. Like it's a type of match that you're gonna play it and pray to God to win, because she has all the disruptions that we talked about in like Mario and Sleepy, and even more because she's a mystic assassin. So it can be really annoying to play against, even more because she can run Sib, and whenever you probably play against a new, they're gonna remove every chi card that they have and just run Sib instead. So it can be really annoying, and they will keep on healing, and sometimes they're gonna have a lot of blocking. So I would say, like, even though I put in 0%, it's not like it's unwinnable. Like, you can win, but you need a lot of, one, luck, second, setup, and third, pray that she doesn't have a raise face on key turns, like turns that you plan on doing a maximum velocity and so on and on. Next one is Aelia. So Aelia is a 50-50. As to why is, if you manage to put her at 20% health before she finds a red in the ledger, she will start blocking. Sometimes that's not the case, but most of the times this actually happens, because Aelia being on 20%, like 20 health, it's really risky for her against Dashayo, because we can just do that amount of damage like out of thin air. Like she can't block with equipments, because all her equipments, even if we put everything up, she can block left for 2 with equipments. So it's really troublesome for her to try to hold us up. So there is that. In any case, I do say that it's a 50-50, because if she managed to loop you and read in the ledger, you are screwed. So she will just keep on shooting that thing over and over, and well, you're probably gonna lose. But yeah. Next one is Betsy. Betsy, it's a free win, because even though she's a guardian, she can run things off a guardian and so on. It is complicated for her to actually hold our bombs, because most of Betsy like lists, they run a lot, but a lot of blocks too. So you can just like keep the pressure, and well, the damage gonna go through, and well, Betsy gonna lose. So there is that. Next one is another guardian, which is Bravo. In Bravo case, it's a 25%. As to why, Crippling Crush and Starstruck and Spinal Crush dominated exists. And those are really problematic. Like, those are annoying. Like, if you get hit by them, you're probably gonna lose a whole turn and go back to the, well, to being back at, what do I say, you're either gonna set up a arsenal, or you either gonna try to set up some items and wait for the effect to run off and pray that he doesn't have another thing like this. So yeah, I would say 25% too, because some Bravos nowadays are running Sib, even though it makes it easier for us to hit him because of this. Sometimes can be really annoying because he has access to a lot of disruptive attacks. And sometimes they do have like the normal generics like CNC, weakest link, erase face too. So yeah. Next one is bolting. So bolting, I would say it's to 75%. Because the 25% chance of him managing to combo you before you actually kill him exists. But it's not that much big of a deal because bolting doesn't really interact with you. Okay, it's really rare to see a list that runs like disrupting things. They're just gonna try to like outrun you in the race. Like every race, you just like explode them with bombs and MV. So it is normally like this. The 25% is just like if you get Lumina up your ass. So there's that. Syndra is a 50-50. If you start, you're actually probably gonna win. If you don't start, you pray to God that your hand has 4 attacks and 0 items. If that's not the case, you will likely lose. There is nothing much to say in this match. Like, normally when you play against Syndra, you probably don't want to take MV with you. Like, in my case, for example, I like to replace the MVs with BIOS update and just go for the good and old racing. So you can do that, or just try to set up some MVs, or pray that you get a natural MV on your hand without needing to set up too much. That can happen. Rare, but can happen. I'd rather just be safe than sorry. But yeah. 50%. Next one is Mirror. So against Dashayo, I would say it's a 75%. As to why? Most Dashayos that I play against, they don't know how to react on the mirror match. Like, I don't really have problems with the mirror match, because it's like, if I start and I have a, well, Cerebellum Processor, Teklo Core, Bomb, anything, I am already at the advantage. So it normally is, even though it's 75%, you can say that it can be a 50% in the coin flip, that whoever starts and has the better start can win. But in my case specifically, and in my opinion, I do say 75%. If you actually know the moments to block, what to block, and try to do a little setup in the earlier turns, you can win this match easily. Next one is IE. So for Dash IE, I would say 50% in her case, if she is playing the generic scrap piece of shit Dash. Because that Dash can run Sib, and if you don't manage to do a lot of damage to her and she builds the pistol, she can just like keep on block and keep on shooting you, and you will likely not block. And funnily enough, she can fatigue you. So we all don't want to see this happen. So normally we just try to set up a bunch of like tackle pounders and try to outburst her. And if she's hybrid, so she's gonna try to aggro on you, you can just aggro her back. She doesn't block really well. She is like, her cards is 3 blocks. Her equipments don't block that well. Maybe she's using the evil for the arms that blocks for 3, but I don't think it's gonna be the case. So yeah, I would say 50-50. And it's more about the fact that the hybrid can start with Pounder, which can hurt a lot. But 50-50. Next one is Dory. Dory, I would say it's a 25% chance. As to why? You don't block. And because of this, her weapon gets really powerful. So the blade can go up to like hitting you each turn for 7. I think that's like not even the max that I saw. I saw like the blade hitting me for like 8. And that's really powerful. So in her case, if she manages to start the game, and if she starts with anything that can put a lot of counters on it, I forgot the name of her specialization that does that, but if she starts with it and manages to hit you, yeah, you are screwed. So yeah, I would say 25%. If she's not a good player, I would say like either 75 if it's really unlucky, and if it is a good player but unlucky, you can go to 50, but normally 25. Enigma for me is 100%. Like, it's perfect. Because they always try to fatigue you. For some god knows reason. But they forget that ward isn't really that helpful. And even though they do the mirror guy, you can just like pop that thing up with gunshots. So you don't really have a problem with it. And normally when you see Enigma, you know that she isn't going to hit you that hard. Like, I think the max that I saw Enigma hit me was like a really huge turn of 2 mirror guys hitting like 20-22 at max. And that takes a lot of setups for her. So I would say it is a really easy match if you know how to set up. And if you don't really put too much of your neck out, so you want to be careful with some effects, because she can randomly like hit you with a ward, and then suddenly she's using a raised face. So you want to be really careful with those things. This match used it to be way harder, but now that NTZ, like no time zone, exists, it make this match really easy, because you can just side in NTZ, and whenever she tries to cheat, you can just have the NTZ on the field and don't have any problems for 2 turns. It can also like stop Mirror Guy from entering the battlefield with a lot of counters, so there is that too. Anyway, I like this match, it's easy. Like, I don't need to think too much, I just need to actually set up and be mindful of my boosts. So there's that. 5 is a 75% nowadays, because for some reason, which is really weird, he can output a lot of damage out of nowhere. Even more if he managed to combo with the Devotion Ever Dies. So I don't know, like I would say 75%, some people can say 100%. For me, I want to be safe than sorry, so I would say 75%, because sometimes I can do a lot of damage. Not that much like Syndra, but it can do some really meaningful damage, so yeah. Next one is Fang. Fang is... Fang, it's like a buy. Like, I think I only lost to 1 Fang in my whole life, and I think I have played like 50 to 60 matches against only Fang. And it was only because he managed to do like 3 hunts end in one specific turn. That was really scary. Like, he had 2 hunts end on his hand and 1 on Arsenal, and he had 4 failties, so it hurt a lot. So aside from that, I think it's like one of the easiest. So, and Enigma is like around here. But yeah, I think it's just that easy. Next one, it's Furion. Furion is really annoying to play against. He will fatigue you. You likely don't want to play this match. So even though I again put him on 0%, I would say it's like 10. Like you need some really specific setups. You need him to be really unlucky with his defense reactions. And even if he is, you need to ship off a lot of his armor somehow. So I don't really like this match because it normally ends in fatigue, because he has access to like falling off the ground, pull under, erase face, CNC, warmongers, etc. So it can be really troublesome for us because we can't really set up that well, and he will keep on pressure, like giving us a lot of pressure with sometimes channel mounting. So I don't know what to say. It's just really annoying to play against. Next one is Ira. Ira, it's a I would say 25%. I would say that she goes around here. It's not really complicated, but if she comes with a lot of disruptions, like the generic Ira, like it's always Kodashi and then some disruption for 7, it can be really annoying to the point where she either gonna try to fatigue you or you're either gonna die from not blocking, because it will always end with Kodashi and some disruption, or Kodashi, one attack with go again and then another disruption, or like Kodashi attack with go again, dual threat, another Kodashi for like 4, 5, and then a disruption for 9. So it can be really annoying to play against. So I would say 25%. If the player isn't that good, or if he doesn't have that amount of like disruptions, if it's just like, I'm gonna do some aggro Ira, you can just outrun him and do a lot of damage. Well, next one is Zhao. Zhao is, I would say 0%, even though I don't really have a bad win rate against him. Like my win rate against Zhao is like 50%. It really depends on the situation where he uses blizzards. Like it normally ends like this, or if he uses the Channel Lake early, to the point where I can't pressure damage early on. But if you actually play against a Zhao that knows what he's doing and do all this, like have Channel Lake early, do a lot of disruptions to you, whenever you try to do something he managed to stop your goal again or give you frostbite, then it's 0. Even more if it is a Zhao Sib, it can be really complicated to fight that thing. But like always, this match depends more on both players than the actual deck. Because if you actually know how to play this match, how to compose yourself in this match, like it can be really winnable. But if not, it's 0. Next one is Keno. Keno is 50% easy. Like he either gonna burst you, or he either will not and he will win. Like it always ends like this. The match doesn't take more than 4 turns. It normally ends at either turn 1, 2, or 3. Like it doesn't go beyond 4. So I would say it's a 50-50. And the 50 is more inclined to up if you manage to on turn 3, when he's already took a lot of damage, you manage to find a spark and do a signal jammer. If he doesn't respond, then you're probably gonna win, because you can do more damage than what he can block. So it normally ends like this. So I would say 50-50. Next one is Kasai. Kasai for me is a really easy match. I would say 100%. I don't really have problems with her because I know the damage output that she can do. Like I know that she can do more. She can't do more than 50 or 80. Not 80, 18. So, I don't really have any problems with Kasai, yeah. I would say that if you actually just pressure her, you're probably gonna get fatigued. Because some Kasais run like a lot of defense reactions, like Sink Below, Fate Forcing, and Shunt. So they will likely try to fatigue you or stop your big attacks and bombs from actually hitting. So that can be really troublesome. But aside from that, if you actually manage to like set up, because as you know, she can't do that much damage, you just slowly get your pounders and get ready to do a really big turn. I don't really see a lot of Kasais running disruptions. They just try to like out damage you, which is not that great because they need to run defense reactions on their decks. So you can just easily win if you manage to set up. So yeah. Katsu. Katsu, it's a character that is like MIA right now because it is in a really problematic situation without the bones. Even though with Retrace, he somehow managed to get Dishonored back, he doesn't really have what he needs to be the Katsu that he used it to be. So for me, this match is like 75%. Like it's one of the easiest of the 75. Where the 25% is if he somehow managed to combo you and do the Dishonor. So there is always that slightly chance that that can happen somehow. And you likely don't want to see that happen because you lose the ability to look at the top card of your deck, and because of that you can't play items. So, and sometimes he can do some really annoying type of damage, like he can hit you for 4, hit you for 5, and manage to use his ability because he hit you. So there is that. I would say 75%. Kayo. Kayo is a 50% easily. As to why, it's if he finds the Blood Rush before you actually do a lot of damage to him, he wins. The most annoying part of Kayo, it's actually the goddamn flashback. Flashback can be really annoying. Even when you want to do like a maximum velocity, so let's say that you do a train drive, and you do the train drive with 2 boosts. Some players will instantly just block with the flashback. So you can use that as either a bait, or if you do that for real, you are screwed if you have an MV, because now you're gonna find a way to do 1 more boost and still have the resources to do the MV. So sometimes can be really troublesome, and they can just hurt you a lot with a lot of different go against, really big go against, like wide ride, popping, etc. So I would say it's a 50-50. As for Levia, I think it is also the same situation. Like if she finds the Blood Rush early, although she has a little more nuances to her. For example, let's say that for some reason she, even if she doesn't or does find the Blood Rush, she doesn't have that many attacks on her banish zone. So she can't do the big attacks like Shadowborn and so on and on. She can like brick sometimes too, and keep on getting damage by her cards and equipments that has blood depth. So I would say it's a 50-50, but it's more like 75. But I will keep on 50 because Blood Rush battle can be really scary when it happens on her. Next one is Max. Max I would say is a 100% win because you do too much damage. Like Max can't hold all the damage that Dashayu can do, and even if he managed to get the robot, you can just keep on pressuring him and the robot will break. Like, that's it. I do hope that he gets better with the armor deck, so we can also like test him, and hopefully his armor deck also comes with attack actions for mechanologists, so we can also yoink some of the cards. So there's that. Olympia. Olympia, I would say, is a 75%. And believe me or not, if you're actually playing against the big X Olympia that has Sib, it can be really scary. Because he can, not easily, but he can fatigue you. So I would say it's a 75% because I played against one and I lost. So it can be really scary. But normally when you play against them, you just like try to first be calm and do the Pounder setup and try to do like a lot of damage with Pounder, BIOS update and MV. Like the match is that simple. Next one is Oscillo. I think Oscillo is also the 50%. I would say 75, but it's actually 50, which is if he actually managed to combo you, you will likely die. Because the Gun in a Flash combo can be really powerful. Like, imagine getting hit with Gun in a Flash 4 times. So you're gonna take 16 damage just from Gun in a Flash. And then he hits you with some arcane damage, I don't know, like etchings, bringing up like 8 to 9 damage. Or even like the most annoying Mind Warp. Mind Warp can really break your turn sometimes. Sometimes it can fix your hand, but sometimes it can just break your whole turn. So I would say it's a 50-50 compared to like, if he has the cards, you're probably gonna be screwed. If you actually manage to just like outrace him and press on a lot of damage, he doesn't really block that well, so you will probably win. But I would still say like it's 50-50 because he can be really lucky sometimes and do his shenanigans. So there is that. Sometimes 50%, sometimes 70%. Prism. For Prism, I would say it's a 25% chance. As to why, she not only does a lot of damage, which is really problematic for us to block, even though we have like, I think around, a normal list has around 6 poppers, which is like Throttle, Red, and Maximum Velocity. A really specific list that runs the Twin Drive, Heist, and Penetration Script. If you have the Penetration Script on the field, your Zipper Hits, Heist, and Twin Drives becomes a popper. So it can really help you out sometimes. But aside from that, she can also, funnily enough, block really well with the Figments that become Angels. So even though you want to press on, she can just keep on blocking with the Shoes for the breakpoints, and with the Angel for some bigger breakpoints that you might have, like if you try to do a Red Throttle and Maximum Velocity. And since it is still a aggro match, like you can't really bring in the Pounder up and be a BIOS update plan, because if you do and you don't have a block on your hand and she hits you for 7, she will put a aggro Figment on the field, like Erudition, or the one that does arcane damage, or the one that makes the Courage token. So those can be really scary on the battlefield. As how you normally play this match, you have 2 options. One is go really hand on her. And the second hint that I can give is like always block or pop the first one and get hit by the second. Because the second one will not do much against you. Like they're gonna hit, they're gonna get a Figment and end the turn. So you can just like put the pressure back. So that's how I can say for this. And the 25% chance is more about the fact that she can either kill you by damage or kill you by fatigue. She can play both games. So it can be a really problematic match. So yeah. Next one is Riner. Even though we don't really see a bunch of Riner, I would say it is a 50% chance. And it has the same issues with those three. All brutes have the same issue, to be honest, with which is the Blood Rush. So Blood Rush, as always, can be annoying. In his case specifically, he not only has access to a lot of damage, but he also has a lot of defense reactions and disruption. It blocks really well. So I would say out of those three, he's one of the most scary. Like, he can be really scary if he wants to be. So I would say Reinhardt, yeah, it's a 50-50. Next one is Riptide. Riptide for me is a 75% chance. You need to adapt to his playstyle, so you don't really get caught in his traps. But the key factor on how you win this match, it's the moment that he uses the collapsing trap. If he uses it and you still have maximum velocities on your deck, you just start playing safe until you see MV, set up the MV and just go hand. Because normally after the collapsing trap, they will not have any other way to disrupt you on the maximum velocity. So you just like go hand, wait for the collapsing trap, he uses it, then you start setting up for a really big turn and finish the match. So I would say it's better than Olympia and it's better than Katsu. So I would say he's around here. Next one is Teklovossen. Teklovossen, it's a 100% win rate because even though he can put his armor, he can't hold out the damage that we do because it's really wide. We can do like 3, 4, 3, 4, 5, 10. Like, we do a lot of damage per turn where he can't block with his Mechanologist cards. And even if he's like on a lot of defense reactions, he still isn't really able to hold all that much. So I would say it's like one of the easiest. Next one is Uzuri. Uzuri, believe me or not, she's a 0%. As to why, even though we don't see her that much, she has every disruption known to man. And because of that, he has some really annoying ways to play it. Because she will hit you for 1, and you'll be like, no blocks. And then suddenly that 1 became a erase face that you can't block anymore because it's on reaction step. So you get hit by the erase face and you nothing on your turn. Or let's say that you get hit by the same 1 and you have a maximum velocity on your arsenal and suddenly that 1 became a CNC. And so on and on. So she can do a lot of annoying plays that can mess you up a lot. She's one of the most disruptive characters. Like, as you can see on the 0%, most of them gonna do a lot of disruption to you. So you likely don't want to deal with them. Pray to God that you don't get parried with them. And if you do, you need to be really careful on your actions and how you play the game. Like, just don't do like me and play safe. Like, try to set up, don't go too aggro. Like, try to hold a little, see what they are doing, try to see what they are thinking. Like, just hold your breath, try to set up, and keep on. And Uzuri case though, it can be really annoying, but it's one of the most winnable matches from the 0%. Like, if you actually manage to go through the disruptions and manage to put pressure on her, you actually can win, because even though she has some defense reactions, her blocks are kinda meh. So yeah. Next one is Verdance. So Verdance can be really funny, because even though she blocks really well, sometimes she just doesn't have enough to hold all the things that you throw at her, because she's playing mage. So sometimes you're gonna see some Verdance with like quick dodge and the chest that gives the embodiment of earth, some really blocky helmet, and so on and on. And sometimes you're gonna see the mage build, which you can just like throw a bunch of damage at them and they will just get hit by everything. So I would say it's a 25%, because she has access to too many defense reactions and a lot of annoying disruptions, some that you can't even like stop. Because normally in this match, in my case, believe me or not, in my case, I play AB1 against some Verdance. So because of this, when they have the tree on the field and they do the mage CNC, I can't do anything about it, because the surge thing gonna hit. So they can be really disruptive because of those specific plays. So don't be like me. If you want, play AB3. If not, be like me, be crazy and just play AB1. Next one is Victor. Victor is also a 25% to 0. And it will depend on the actual player. And not only that, but on clashes. If he manages to win really specific clashes, like the one that gives him like mighty tokens, or the ones that gives him like a spinal crush, which you know that he gonna throw at you on the next turn, it can be really annoying. Because even if you do a lot of damage to him, he will just like throw the fridge at you and come back with a spinal crush, so you're gonna need to block it, or else you will not do anything on your turn, and so on and on. The difference between him and Bravo is more about the fact that he can be way more aggressive than Bravo. So I would say that he stays around here. Like, it's not the worst 25%, because you can still win if you manage to get a pounder early on and manage to set up some bomb with like outpace Fenderbender, which can bypass the armor. But aside from that, it can be really troublesome. Next one is Viserai. Viserai recently got LL, so we don't really talk about it. But normally it was around 25%, because even though we are aggro, he's way faster than us, and he does 2 types of different damages. So he was a really annoying race to play against. So I would say 25%. I had a lot of problems in this specific match. It's not the worst, but again, Rune Blades have access to Face Purgatory, Succumb to Temptation, and so on, so it can be really troublesome. Which is what we're gonna talk next, which is Vincent. Vincent is also 25% now. As to why, it's because she has access to what I just said. She can be really disruptive with the cold thing. Like, that card can be really annoying against some specific moments, because she can just do that on demand. And not only that, she also has access to Succumb to Temptation and Face Purgatory. So she can be really disruptive. And not only that, but her attacks can also disrupt you a lot. Like, if it hits, it banishes the top of your deck. If it hits, it banishes your arsenal. If it hits, it banishes a card from your hand, and so on and on. So it can be really troublesome if you don't manage to put a lot of pressure early on, and at some specific moments you're gonna need to block. If you are not careful enough, you're gonna be screwed. Last one is Zen. Zen is 0%. As to why, normally when you play against a Zen, you're gonna put anti-Z. But that thing will remove most of, or not most of, like they're gonna leave like 3 or 2 She cards in their deck and replace them with a lot of defense reactions, like Wax Off, Wax On, Sink Below, Flick Flack, Blue and Red. So they have access to too many really good defense reactions. So it can be a really troublesome match to the point where it's really rough to win. Not only that, but he also has the Zen state that he can deal with the Wax On Wax Off combo or with his chest piece. So even though you have breakpoints, your breakpoints means nothing if it has the Zen state. So it's a really annoying match to play. You need a lot of setup, and even if you do the setup, he can still like just do too much damage out of nowhere. And even if you leave him with like 2 cards, he will come back with pay 2 CNC, pay 2 erase face, pay 0, put a card on the bottom, a lightning strike for 7, and so on and on. But yeah, I would say that's my tier list of characters that can be really good for Dash.io and characters that can be really annoying to play against. So I would say it's like this. If you guys like think otherwise, if you think that some matches are better for you than not some others, it's completely fine. This is completely my emo. Like those are the matches that I think is annoying for me to play, and the ones that I think is like super easy or like really doable to play. And well, let me know in the comments which ones do you think is like easier for you and worse, something like that. And I see you guys in the next one. See ya.